And what?
Happy Monday.
And happy Monday. It's a happy Monday. I'll tell you what, I am so wackadoodled out by the days. The whole calendar thing used to be a lot easier. Because I don't know what day's what anymore. But that's okay. I mean, it's okay. It's a good way to be. I'm only because we usually do the race and television thing on Saturday, and Sunday's like got its own little rhythm to it. But with Thanksgiving thrown in there on Thursday, and then you're back to free for all Friday, and then you have
no race.
Yeah, it's weird. So anyway, where am I? Here I am. Okay, I'm here. Here I am. Oh, the snow cleared up. Thank goodness. I thought it was going to be snowing when I got out here. All right, so I can turn this up so that I can hear. And I can turn this. I got switches. So, let's see. In the ever-continuing saga of the Vernon Kelton live documentary, I figured out the medium to do the visuals. You know, you've seen the guys; they'll play their stuff, but there has to be some visual to tie it together if you're going to play, you know, those kind of places. And so we started working on that today, and it's going to take about, I would say it's going to take about a month to get the thing scripted the right way, the way we want it to run. But I'm thinking New Year's Eve, I don't know. Anyway, I put a pin in it for me to have my stuff done, but it's fun. I'm loving it every day. It's like a kind of a new adventure because I get to go back in and deal with a whole different part of what's going on. You know, everybody's got screens now. Everybody's doing video, and everybody's doing this and that. So to be able to come into a medium that I love and use video and use pictures and use this and that and create a narration or a storyline that runs along with the music. It's a pretty cool undertaking. It's an exciting thing to do, and I'm enjoying doing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Sue asked us. So let's see. Let me read it correct. How about Succession?
How about Succession? Wow.
Well, we watched the first season over again because it's been so long that we forgot.
We watched the first season over again, and now we just finished the second season and started the third season, and it's getting a little smoky in there.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's hard to say where it's going to go. But anyway, you know, that's what it is. That's just that. But so we got a nice chunk of that watched on Thanksgiving.
With any of those people, though.
No. Well, we've been close enough to that. Nah. I'd rather have my own spacecraft and float around with you guys.
There you go.
So you know, you got me floating.
There you go.
So let's see.
Pat Romano wants to know any thoughts on Get Back. We have not watched that.
No, we have not watched that.
We do not have Disney Plus.
Yeah, we have to get that. I mean, it's like, you know, it's $3. I feel like I'm walking on the street in old Times Square. Got $1?
Now Sue says Kindle is nuts. He's more nuts now. See, now my friend can't stand Kindle. I happen to like Kindle. That's just me, but I like him. Well, I like Cousin Greg out of all of them.
Best. No.
Yeah, I do.
Why?
And then it would be Kindle.
Because you know how he feels?
Okay, Pat Romano's takeaway, back to the Beatles.
Okay, yeah.
Was how they showed John in a different light than what perception was all these years later.
Well, okay, without even seeing it, they're going to spin it the way they want it to be spun. You know, if you have the I don't know if I've told this story before, but this is an Entwistle story, and I was producing a record in Woodstock. And the owner of the studio said to me, "Is it true that John Entwistle and Keith Moon did experiments with livers using the different various kinds of alcohol to determine which alcohol they were gonna drink?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I don't really know that for sure, but I could ask and let you know." So I go home that night from Woodstock, go back to our house, and I called John late. And I said, "Hey, listen, the studio asked me blah, blah, blah." And he said, No. They were in a doctor's office, and they were reading an article that some scientists had done an experiment using chicken livers to see which they soaked them in whatever it was in chicken livers in brandy and whiskey and gin and vodka and whatever else. And the best looking liver was the one that was in brandy. So that's how they started to drink brandy. So I said, "Oh man," I said, because she thinks that you guys got like human livers and did that. I said, "You want?" I said, "You want me to straighten her out?" And he said, No. Her story's much better." So, if you know who shot Liberty Valance for real, you know that when the legend is bigger than the truth, print the legend.
That's right. And Sue
So-
loves Greg, by the way.
Greg? Gregory. I thought he's not Gregory anymore. What happened to that?
All right. He went back to being Greg, and she said Kendall is sad. He tries to get on Dad's good side. He gets fucked so many times.
All right, listen, you know what? First of all, I can tell you this. I've been as close as I ever want to get to that kind of money. Right up, as close as you can get without getting sucked in by the...
It's about the power.
It's insane. It's insane. Anyway, another story.
Oh, wait,
So-
she said, "You'll see." All right, don't tell it. Don't you spoil anything,
So,
Sue.
or we'll tell you who wins the World Series.
Oh, man.
Oh man, what?
I'm laughing. I'm laughing.
I got my little thing,
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Sue, I loved your
decorating.
Christmas tree, too. I love the lights on Sue's tree.
Well, I do too. That's why I started decorating early this year. you know.
So we have Brad and Colby Congress on today.
Yes, that is this. That is, this is, and it's tonight. I mean, we always get off on these tangents, but it's how all of these legends and histories and iconic conversations come around to rock and roll, and it's just it's a fun little segment, and I enjoy doing it with them. So they'll be here in a second.
And what do we know what they're discussing tonight?
It's the Wheel in the Sky.
Wheel
The
in
Wheel in
the
the Sky. I guess like in the Journey song, Wheel in the Sky.
Uh-huh.
We'll find out.
in the sky.
If we knew that, we wouldn't need to have this. We wouldn't need the segment if we knew. We knew.
Uh-huh.
So, do you like my little Christmas capsule?
I like your Christmas capsule.
Thank you very much.
I absolutely do.
Okay, I'm going back to the other one because I know you're lying. Okay,
I'm
so
not lying.
I'm just kidding with you. That's it. There it is. No, it just went away.
Oh,
Hey.
now Sue is very thankful for all of her new friends because of this fun show.
And do I have the right sound? Do I have any sound program for this? How about
Just
how about this?
beware.
How about that?
There you go.
Okay, it was
We're glad
good, right?
You made new friends because of
Yeah.
this show.
That's
Chances are they're all crazy.
yeah. If they're hanging out in here, there's a bolt missing, but that's okay. That's
all right.
we all.
Birds of a feather.
That's right. We all need a place to hang, and the truth is, I really, out of all the things that you could do to waste your time, the fact that you choose to spend an hour of it here.
You want to waste it here.
The fact that you want to just blow it right out here.
Sue says she's crazy too. All right, Sue, our kind of girl.
Bring it. Do I have crazy sounds? I don't know. I might have some crazy sounds.
We should have maybe named the show "One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest."
And I think somebody's using that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wrong.
That's
I know what it is.
Halloween.
I know. I missed it by about. Okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
So,
missed it.
I wonder if Brad's having. Oh no, he'll come in 10 after, right? So what else? Oh, I was listening to. I was listening to tracks that I've already digitized for the upcoming album release, and I found some really cool stuff. And because we're doing it in 2 parts, I have to make sure that the stuff that we use on the second volume is as good or better than the stuff from the first album. So I'm, from the first volume. And, but man, I'm going crazy trying to find a DAT machine. I'm back to that. I'm back to DAT.
DAT.
And I can't do this, this project, the Entwistle Volume 1 and 2, Rarities, whatever it is, without having that machine. I mean, I need...
And they don't sell them anymore.
They don't even make them anymore.
No.
And
the last 6 you tried, all were broken.
last 5.
Last 5.
Oh, well.
So we don't want to buy a used one.
Yeah, we don't really want to buy a used one.
No.
But, guess who's here, kids? It's time.
Brad and Colby
It's
time.
time for Secrets and Symbols.
With some more crazy people.
With more crazy people. There they come. There's me.
All right.
All
Oh,
right.
I see that. Yep. Okay.
All
There
right.
it is. Very nicely done.
Well, I think after the 10th, 11th show, we should probably get it right about now.
Hey, man, you have no idea when we first started, however
Oh, my
long
God.
it was, man. We were.
It was months.
It was months and months, and
It
I
was,
still have things that I want to upgrade and change. It's just
5 days a week, too.
yeah, 5 days a week. It's tough, but it's okay.
How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. Did you have? Was Thanksgiving good? Everything was good.
Thanksgiving was incredible. Just incredible. The only problem with Thanksgiving, and I think for most all of us agree, it's just not long enough. That's they need to make a Thanksgiving week.
As in terms of what?
Yeah, we kind of already do that. Because I think we pretty much kind of slipped through Monday into Tuesday,
Right.
and then and it's like, well, it's Tuesday, and but we timed it perfectly this year. This year, she made perfect amounts of everything perfectly.
Right.
Doesn't get better than that. And the last serving of this and the last serving of that, if you were anal in such a way, it's all gone. None of it.
I saw that cake or the cake pie.
Yeah, that thing.
Oh no, that
Conglomeration.
I don't think that made it through the weekend. That certainly didn't make it to Thanksgiving. All it did was protected a couple of pies that it got in the way of.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm really excited. We've got a kind of a fun one put together today for you guys.
Yeah, practice about this one.
I don't know why I'm all jazzed about this one, but I think you're going to like it. When I was a kid, one of my absolute favorite songs was this one.
Wait, yes.
Was Journey's Wheel in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was so, I don't know what it was about it, but it just, my mind really just spun on that song for so long. And I still, when I listen to it, there's just everything about it. I love it. And I think it boils down to the Zodiac concept, the wheel in the sky that surrounds us. Most people don't even know what it is. So when I talk to people a little bit about Wheel in the Sky, do they know what it is? Very few people really have a grasp of what it is and why. And I've always loved space, so this really kind of hit a real strong sweet spot for me. And since 1978, I've been reading and studying about what some people say is an important thing in our lives, and other people say it's the biggest a bunch of hocus pocus there ever could be. And in the meantime, I thought we'd have some fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely have some fun with it. The only time everybody's going to agree is when we're being invaded from space. Then everybody's going to need each other, and but that's that's okay. So does the wheel in the sky refer to the 12 points of the zodiac? Is that what it is? Is that the wheel in the sky?
That's the sum total basic yes 100% answer.
Okay.
But it gets a little more interesting than that, because every culture in history has studied the wheel in the sky. In fact, there are some that have really put a lot of forth effort into it. We're going to start with these guys, the Egyptians. This is an Egyptian star wheel that has all these different hieroglyphs that some people may be familiar with, some maybe not. But we're going to talk about a couple of, you can see there's 4 diagonal points and there's 4 linear points that connect to it. And those were actually akin to the wind, the 4 winds, north, south, east, west. But also the cardinal points throughout the skies. There are 4 cardinal points that we, north, south, east, and west, align ourselves with. The Egyptians were really good about that. They loved, they really were into that. In fact, this is another variation of a Egyptian sun wheel. Oh, hold on. Can you grab me that CD right there? This is the greatest hits, Earth, Wind, and Fire. If you take a look at,
Oh yeah.
What if Susan? Yeah.
they have all the different zodiac breakdowns all the way through it that can be found.
Wow. Oh, there's the Ankh.
Yeah,
We got all our stuff is in there.
and it
Is
really,
that pie I see too?
yes. So, the Egyptians really, for the most part, we owe them a lot of the beginnings of this.
But I've got to. I try to wrap my head around this in the most literal way. I really try to.
Right.
I'm in Egypt. It's what 4,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago.
Give or take.
And I'm walking around. It's not like I'm going to pop on down to the observatory. How do I even get keyed into this mindset that there's a cycle of anything besides morning and night?
Yeah, well,
That's a great
I'm
question.
missing the whole class because I had to get Steve T.
Oh.
What?
So I don't know what's going on.
what'd you say, Lloyd?
No, she said she doesn't know what's going on. We're talking about the
Steve needed a cup of tea, so I have not been in here. Hi, Kobe.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
what kind of tea you drinking?
just
Decaf.
chai,
Chai.
chai, decaf.
I'm so glad that you are. Here, watch this. We have another wheel in the sky that we're going to talk about from China.
Ah.
This is slightly different. Instead of it being 12 on the months, each month having their own place in card, in the Chinese zodiac, they have here. They go by year. So if you are born in a particular year, that's the cycle that you go on. And they have, because their position is different to observe the stars and the coordinates, they have different stars that they observe. But what's interesting about many of their star constellations, many of them coincidentally match to others that are in are, when I say ours, I mean ones that we're familiar with as well. So it's fascinating that there's a coordination between some of them, even though they're very different.
So they watch the sky so much for so long that they figured out the rhythm of it. I mean, is that
That would be accurate. Well, they didn't have TV. They didn't have TiVo. They didn't have Facebook. They had the stars to keep them company.
They were kind of like him,
right? But they also didn't have light pollution.
Exactly. That was huge. In fact, today, if you live in a city like we do, you go outside, there are only a handful of stars that you really can peer into and planets that you can peer into. But if you get a chance to ever be out in the wilderness or out where it counts or high altitude, it's a different world. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to see the Milky Way, but it's significant.
I have been in that situation.
When we go to Sanibel,
yeah.
because there's no street
Yeah,
lights.
Sanibel has very little light pollution, but
Yeah. Well, that's really where I cut my teeth on watching the stars. I used to just when I was a kid growing up there, that's what I did. Is I enjoyed watching stars a lot.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
I like it.
So after the
the one picture before you kind of.
Which one?
There was a picture before, and yeah, that one.
This
Is
one?
that what you wanted? Did you want to talk about that or no?
well, the 12 Egyptian astrology signs. Most people don't really think about the astrology kind of beginning, or I should say, having that connection, deep connection to the Egyptians. But I don't want to say it started with them because it really didn't. It started with the stars many eons before. And what's interesting is many people have talked about the Atlantean culture and the connection to them. Some people will look at me and think, Brad's a wacko. He believes in Atlantis, blah, blah, blah. Well, I hate to break it to you kids. There was a lot here before you and I were ever got here or our records. Around 9,500 years ago, there was a great flood. And that great flood increased about 250 feet of water in our system that we have now. So when the waters were drawn lower, there were other civilizations. Some call it Lemura, some call it Atlantis. But it was an advanced culture, and there have been many supportive documents that have even supported this. In fact, I got a great book.
Yeah, like Noah and the Ark.
No, that's different.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We have not a shortage of books.
I know. I've gotten quite a workout with this one. Graham Hancock, he's got this book called Underworld. And in that, he follows these megalithic blocks that are underneath and right around what's called the Bimini Trail. And there are
Wow.
this is all shot underneath, and there are these massive megalithic blocks and structures underneath the water that point toward Bermuda. And somewhere in between there is a theory that is where it was located. So that, just in case.
That all tie in with the Bermuda Triangle and all that?
Precisely. And so after Egypt, we have the Hebrews, the early Hebrews. And if you notice, this is a actual zodiac wheel. And above each one of the zodiac symbols, in Hebrew, you can see written around that. This is taken from about 6th century BC. So this is early Greek. In fact, at this time, Greeks and the Hebrews, the Hellenistic Jews, they kind of got together and much of their philosophies, mathematics, sciences were exchanged between them. So there is an educational link between the two societies at that time.
They influenced each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. Worked quite a bit off of each other.
But and I get that. I mean, I do get that, but it's a lot of just walking down the dusty old Greek road and discovering stuff. I mean, it sounds to me like a lot of this was learned or taught or somehow revealed. And I'm not a, I don't know. I know what something is, and if I don't know what it is, then I don't know what it is.
Right.
Simple as that. But it seems to me that somebody told somebody something at some point.
Well, so we're going to call it reoccurring miracles because over and over again, the story has been retold, subtly different, unique to each culture. They all own their own, but at the same time, there are these golden threads that connect them together. And what has always fascinated to me is number one, why? Number two, is there anything to it? Now, again, the scientific mind says hokum, bullshit. But at some point you will walk into the I can't explain that zone. And once you walk into the I can't explain it, it comes over and over again of things you cannot explain so easily.
Well,
This,
I get that. I get that
Like
all day
deja
long.
vu? Deja vu?
No, no, no. Like the theory of if I had to describe something to you that I have never seen before in my life and tell you what it was, all I could use is my common frame of reference. To I wouldn't
Right,
say
right,
it was
right.
a rocket ship. I would have no idea.
Yes,
So I
like Nostradamus was like talking about airplanes before there were even airplanes. Right?
all of that I do agree, and in fact I have read much of Nostradamus's work, or I say a good deal of it, and within that I stretch many times on the accuracies and reinterpretations, but there are some real golden nuggets in there too.
Yep.
This is an image that I find to be fascinating. This is a Roman god called Helios, and the term halo comes from him.
Ah.
If you notice above his head, there's a bright shining orb.
yeah.
So
Is that the sun or?
that's a very good answer, young lady.
Oh,
This is him in stone, and this is around 2nd century AD, early Roman era. Now, if you notice, I have a better picture now. If you notice in this one, there are 4 horses, and you have Helios with the light shining behind him. The 4 horses are a big deal because around 3rd century AD, there was another reoccurring miracle. Christianity was brought into the fold. And a lot of the data that was borrowed from one was taken and placed to another. The 4 horsemen have often been akin to this particular, because this is called a quadriga, the 4-horsed chariot, the 4 horses. And each one of those horses had their own significant meaning. I don't remember what they are. Give me some time, I'll recall. But the quadriga was very significant, and it meant that it was the power and personification of the philosophies of Rome.
what does this have to do with the wheel in the sky?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked.
You don't think we're upsetting the NSA by talking about this stuff, do you?
What?
By the end of this, conversation, we may ruffle a feather or two, but all for fun and strictly educational and enjoyment purposes.
We may be upsetting the NASA.
Well, I'm going to be quoting the NA. I'm actually NASA.
One thing at a time.
Yeah. Well, no, we're building up to some fun here.
I'm having fun.
Okay, yeah.
The question was, what does this have to do with the wheel in the sky?
I'm glad you asked.
Now he says he's glad I asked. So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Okay.
Okay.
So there is a very
Your picture is, sorry, his photos. There we go.
yeah. There you
Okay.
go.
Turning.
People should go online now, right? This is the time to do it.
If they want to,
If you want to go online, go to
Carmina
Carmina
Burina. It's that very famous song that you've heard a billion times.
that we're not
But you can hum a few bars.
Oh my God.
Come on, do it.
You know, do, 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 do.
Boom, boom,
Do, 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 do.
boom, boom.
Do, 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 do.
If you ever heard that song or seen any type of horror movie, it's in it, okay?
What? Is it like classical music?
It is like classical music, but here's where it comes.
Just like it.
But Carmina Burana was originally written, well, actually was adapted to musical form as we hear it, as we poorly sang it.
But people should go on their phones right now if they can and just like listen to it for a second to remember.
To familiarize
and it's
themselves.
extraordinarily heavy
Right.
and dark feeling and
Right.
big feeling.
And the song is called O Fortuna, meaning
Ode for tuna?
O Fortuna,
not tuna fish,
Oh,
but
okay.
like a fortune.
like Wheel of Fortune, like the Wheel of Fortune. There's lovely Vanna White since 1982.
The wheel keeps on spinning there too.
Yeah, but sure.
Exactly. And, you know, the Wheel of Fortune is the here we go. Hold on.
Oh, that looked uncomfortable.
Yeah. Oh, believe me. So this is the original text of that song, O Fortuna, meaning the Wheel of Fortune. And how you can see there's a woman centered in the middle of it, and there's a spoked wheel in the center. And that wheel that surrounds is this.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's the Wheel of Fortune. Oh, here we go. That's the one I want. You see this right here? Right,
This one here?
yep. Right there, that ellipse that surrounds us, that's us. And that wheel that surrounds us is the Wheel of Fortune, meaning the 12 zodiacs that influence our life, whether we realize it or not. This is what I study the stars with.
No, there's
Oh, the glares is horrible.
there's a terrible
Did not
glare.
plan for this. Well,
Oh, I see.
if you notice, like, if you ever take a look at the stars at night, especially off in the east, as time goes on, you can see the stars. You know, if you go out there an hour from now, they're in a different position than they were because we're constantly in motion, and it's a constant that goes through. This, thank you. This Wheel of Fortune was constantly being monitored, even during the 10th, 11th, and 13th century. And the reason why I'm specifically talking about the 13th century is there was a group of very educated scholars, Jesuits, around the 13th century. Although they were scholars and they had been forced into celibacy and forced into a life of very religious ordered mentality, this group really, the Gallards, they were called, were not wanting to participate as priests or in the clergy, but they had to participate because the church was ordering them to. So what they did is they wrote music and poems and satires, all in the ears and eyes of the church, but they would do certain things that were specific to let people know that they didn't agree with everything of the church.
Oh,
And
that's where musicians got a bad rap, right? That's
exactly, these guys were the original rock stars because they traveled all throughout Europe. They did their shows, and they talked about how, and again, the song is O Fortuna, meaning, and what's interesting is I was studying the lyrics translated from Latin to English. And what's interesting is if someone's bored, take a look at it. It's fascinating. Some of the lyrics are very similar to Wheel in the Sky
Ah,
from Journey because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We are absolutely, all of us, you, me, the king, the queen, it doesn't matter who. We all are faced with our fate. And our fate ultimately is we are going to die. What will happen to our soul, we don't know. That's what the fates have to allow us to, judgment will happen then. So this song was actually a big deal back then because it put priests and the clergy at the same place as you and me or anyone else. They were not above because, see, at this time, a lot of people don't know this, but here, this is really cool. Check this out. Oh, hell. Yeah. Catholic cosmology, which most people are not familiar with, was a big deal. This is from one of the scripts of Catholicism. And if you notice, in the upper right-hand corner, I believe, we've got the big bear.
Yep.
yep.
And you can start picking out little stars on his body.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start following along, there are stars on all these guys.
Yeah.
And the big ship on the bottom is Noah's ship.
Oh.
And some of this starts to becoming clear.
There's a dog.
That's an eagle. In fact, I use that eagle.
Is he wearing
It
something?
is a shield breastplate.
Oh.
And some say that shield breastplate inspired the shield breastplate that was on that's on our $1 bill.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So there is a lot of great data to
What's
be
that
found.
dog called?
What's what?
The dog called.
I don't know. I can't remember.
But you see that white dog, right?
I do. In fact, just to let you know, every character that you see in there is written in the Bible.
Wow.
But you don't know about who the dog is? Because it's going to keep her up all night.
If it makes you feel better, it'll keep me up all night too.
Oh, I can Google it.
Oh, okay. Now these poor people.
Yeah, well, they're having it rough because they're on. Oh, sorry.
What the hell?
Sorry, I'm having technical.
No.
So on this wheel of fortune, you can see there is a woman in the background,
Yep.
and you see there's a green clergyman in front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is when things started to change because O Fortuna, she used to be all on her own. She never had any help from a god. But in Catholicism, they did introduce the male figure. And that male figure was higher clergy, pope, or cleric, somewhere up in the higher ends, as to be the intermediary between the stars and the people, because they needed someone to interpret it. And that's why, in fact, over in Rome and Vatican, there are, to this day, incredible observatories, and they still utilize the observatories over there because these observatories were watching things in the stars.
Mm-hmm.
People
Wow.
on the sides. Who are that?
You and me get rattled.
It was just getting the garbage beaten out of you, basically, by the clergyman?
No, by the Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, okay.
Are there 12 spokes in that wheel?
Yes. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, it's gone away.
Well, let's do one,
So
two,
here she is. Here, if you notice up here, it says Fortuna. Up here, the V is actually a U,
Yeah.
meaning the fortune. And there's a lot of little micro detail. There's a man up there being controlled by the wheel.
Oh.
And this is a 6-spoked wheel because they just chopped it in half for efficiency's sake. And then
There's like she could crank.
right, exactly. There's a cranking of the
So
wheel.
I guess if you're not good, you get the bad crank.
Well, no, the wheel is always in motion. That's what it meant.
Oh, sorry.
There is a ship, if you notice that there is a ship there,
Yeah.
meaning that the wheel of fortune influences the waters and tide. And then if you see in the other side of the background, there's a town or a city.
Yeah.
Okay, and that means that, O Fortuna influences that as well.
By sea or land.
By sea or land, right. Now, here are a couple of clips back to your NASA comment that I thought everyone would find a little interesting. Cosmic rays from exploding stars affecting Earth's climate. NASA's been studying that increasingly because they're finding out that, hey, things on the outside do influence things on the inside. In fact, so much so that NASA has now selected a mission to study cosmic rays in the Heliosphere. Back again with the Heliosphere.
Brad was very excited to tell me this morning.
I know, right?
So this is very cool. A little scary though for us Earthlings.
That's
but
right.
some people would find it, not
So
scary.
if you don't know what the heliosphere is, not everyone does, here we are. The sun is on one side, and then you can see Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, all the way. But then do you see the part where it goes from, there's like a line that separates our solar system to the rest, where it says Oort cloud up in the upper right-hand side?
Oh, maybe on his it might be to the left.
It's the right.
I'm not sure. Oh, it's on ours. It's the
Yeah,
right.
I see it, or it's cloud.
Right. So at the point of, we'll call it Neptune and Pluto area, that's where our solar system is done being protected by the heliosphere. Because past that line is wild gamma rays and cosmic rays that will absolutely shred any life that we know in apart.
So
It
clearly,
cannot do that.
that's Voyager 1. It put the marker for Voyager 1.
Exactly. So, in fact, so much so that NASA is sending out more testing equipment to that area where the heliosphere ends and the new, like where we cannot be protected by our sun any longer. And at that point, we're going to find out much information on how are we going to go past our solar system in the future.
Wait a minute. We're not being protected by our sun or from our sun.
So the heliosphere, think of the radiant power of the sun.
Yeah.
Radiating so far past, it goes out to the edge of our solar system and then abruptly drop because the vacuum of the sun can no longer push outside the bubble of all of the other forces of the expanding space around it. It can't push back any longer, and then it collapses. So it's like a bubble, and that bubble is like a force field.
Okay.
That force field is protecting us from gamma radiation and other cosmic rays that we cannot handle.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And so our sun is our protector. And it's interesting to me, here we are talking about the heliosphere. Here we've talked about Helios and how it was our great protector and how we think we know so much, but we're learning every day more about where we live. And that, to me, is very exciting because the fact is, we live in really kind of an interesting time that we're seeing some of these observations starting to take place on what seemingly was, I don't want to say known, but definitely discussed about eons before they had a telescope.
Yeah. As far as we know.
Right.
That whole thing just,
Okay. The dog star is Sirius.
No, Sirius is the dog star, but that's not necessarily the dog that was in that
And
picture.
the constellation is called Canis Major, the greater dog.
Yes, you're right. And you know what? And Sirius, the dog star is actually the eye of the dog star.
There you go.
So thank you very much.
Yes, thank
Now
you.
we can sleep.
I doubt it. I doubt it. That's all very interesting. You know,
I think that's very
since
interesting.
we don't know so much about, you know, what's out there and all of that, I think that's what makes being open to the possibilities of what could be out there. That's half the fun.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
knowing.
Can you tell them the part about those clergymen who how they had the tunnels and
Oh, yeah.
that's the best part.
So you remember when I was talking about these guys, you know, the rebels in the 13th century, the Gullards, a
Right.
little earlier ago?
Yeah.
When I was in Sweden some time ago, and I was at a monastery. And at this monastery, of course, they're huge and they have large grounds, and you know, it was it was like an inclusive campus. And inside of the cathedral, they had a like a 1/8 scale of all of the different grounds and the pictures of it. It was fascinating. And when they were talking to our group, I noticed that there was, they said that this is where the men stayed and this is where the women, you know, the nuns stayed. And I noticed that there was like a little dotted line on the grounds in between. I said, what's that? Because you know me, questions everywhere. They said, oh, well, that is where there was an underground tunnel that they would meet between each other.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, meet between each other. So, like, what happened? And they said, well, a lot of illegitimate children took place then.
Oh.
And in doing so, a lot of the unborn children were actually buried outside the realm, and it was a shame on the monastery, and it went for many years. But the Gollards, you know, this is what they were poking at. They were saying that, you know, you're like us. You know, you have the craven desire. You like, you know, you like to do what we like to do, and you know, and it was kind of an interesting thought process that, you know, we normally don't talk about, but we kind of do because we know that not everyone is quote unquote perfect, and that's one of the reasons why I love rock and roll so much. Because let's face it, you grow up in a crowd of, you know, we're going to live our life and we're going to do it honestly. You may not like it, but we're going to live it. And
That seems to be the common thread that goes through all of this. It's not necessarily rebellious, although it is, but it's individualistic, and
yeah,
you know, it's about my choices for me, and that's, you know, that's, I guess, you know, that's been the rock and roll anthem,
yeah,
whatever, for, you know, since Angus. Hey,
that's right.
Vegas!
What's happening?
Hey,
Hey!
how is everybody?
We're doing
Good.
good.
How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was great.
Good.
Awesome.
Really, yes, it was real good.
Good.
Best one I've had in about 3 years.
I'm so glad to
good.
hear
All
that.
right.
Yeah, we had a real turkey this time.
Oh,
I
good.
don't know about that.
they don't know the legend
Oh,
of.
I know. No, it's all. Yeah,
They have turkey.
it was great. It was great. What happened to your snow and your Christmas lights, Steve?
Mine.
No.
Mine.
Oh,
He
here,
got
right.
serious.
I couldn't be out there while Brad's doing his thing with this.
Oh.
Yeah, I guess.
I like
Oh, wait a
that.
second.
Very festive.
Next week, we're going to get into some holiday stuff.
Okay.
And you know, we're going to kick off a new segment. We're going to be doing some birthstones, and the first one we're going to do is probably the best rock and roll birthstone there is.
That's true.
Turquoise.
Ah.
That's a birthstone?
Is that a January birthstone?
No, December.
December birthstone?
December. Well, there's a handful of birthstones for every month. We'll get into that. So the first, but yes, turquoise will be that.
Okay.
Oh, that's excellent. That's
So
great,
we learned
man.
a lot about
Yeah,
the wheel in the sky today,
yeah.
and it keeps on turning.
It does keep on
right.
turning.
It does. Just like the show.
That's right.
Well, you have to, at some point during this holiday season, we need to investigate the Yule lads
Oh yeah.
because
Someone that was on our show wrote a book about them.
somebody that was on the show wrote a book in Iceland about the Yule lads,
Okay.
and
It's got to do with Christmas.
it's got to do with Christmas. And if you're bad, they do stuff to your
Hey.
shoes. It's like
They put
it's
potatoes in your shoes or something.
it's
Wow.
so an old friend of mine that watches the show said, I looked into the Yule lads because she was looking for something to share with her grandkids or whatever.
Okay.
And she said that would scare the hell out of those kids.
Oh, we're gonna do Yule lads. That will be. You know what? We'll do Yule tide and all that stuff. All that great
heard of
Wiccan
them
stuff.
before. I've never heard of them
Well,
before.
because it's like, a European
So
thing.
Europe, no, Iceland is
It's an Icelandic thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Reykjavik.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that's okay. That's all right. And watch out, it'll Reykjavik. Anyway, so okay. Well, listen. Is there more that we need to know about the sun and heliosphere?
I think that what we're gonna say is we can always come back, but today I hope you enjoyed.
Oh, yeah.
I
Very
absolutely did. I absolutely did. Yeah. Very good. Very
Fascinating.
good.
And
Yeah.
Sue Vicente says that PBS has a Nova series on the universe. Totally cool info to add to this.
There you
Oh,
go.
I
There you
bet.
go.
So
And you
there
know, and you know that Jimi Hendrix he wrote Third Stone from the Sun about the planet Earth being the third stone from the
Yeah.
sun.
Thank you for bringing that up.
And I'll leave you with one tidbit. The ohm is the vibration of the sun.
Oh, the vibration.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
Anytime. I'd like that.
All right. Let's let Port Angus do
All right.
this.
All right. Yeah. Well,
All right,
Bye.
Mr. Angus.
Do your
take
thing.
care, guys.
Thanks, guys.
It's good seeing you again.
Good to see you.
See you next week.
Love you guys.
Love you too,
Love
man.
you too, guys.
Wow.
Too funny.
Okay, Angus.
Wow. Good stuff. I don't have any Christmas stuff yet.
No
Well,
Christmas
it's
stuff?
still
I have
early.
to get. I have to start getting Christmas stuff here. Actually, I think Stella's almost done. Christmas shopping for Stella. It's almost done.
I see some stars.
Yeah, I see stars.
Yeah. Well, that was. Yeah. There you are. Okay. All right. I do have a joke. Do you need a joke?
Yeah, come on. Yeah, I'll get back
I
in
have a
there.
joke.
You told our doctor, your mailman.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. This old lady. There you go. This old lady. She calls the hospital, and she asks the operator. She says, Can I get information about a friend of mine that's there, one of your patients, and see how she's doing?" And the operator says, "Yeah, I can help you with that." She goes, "Let me go see if I can find your nurse. Just hold on for a few minutes." So the operator leaves. A few minutes later, she comes back. She goes, "Well, I'm sorry. I messed it up. I can't believe it. All right, we have to go back. We have to go back. The old lady calls up the hospital. I got to inquire about a friend of mine that's there, and we see how she's doing."
Get the hook.
I
Oh
just
gosh! All right.
distract everybody for you. So now they totally forgot. So now go ahead, back up.
Okay. All right. This woman old lady calls up the hospital, inquiring about a friend of hers. I inquire about a friend of mine, see how she's doing. The operator says, "Sure. What's her name?" Her name is Norma Finley. She's in room 302. And she goes, "Well, let me go see if I can find her nurse and find out what's going on." So she leaves. A few minutes later, she comes back. She says, I found her nurse." She goes, "And Norma is doing extremely well." She goes, "Her blood pressure is back to normal. Her blood work came back and it's back to normal. And I talked to her doctor, Dr. Cohen, who said he's going to release her on Tuesday. She gets to go back home." The old lady says, "Oh, thank you so much." She goes, "That is such good news. God bless you." And the woman says, the operator says, that's no problem. Anytime you need anything. She says, is this your daughter or a friend? And she goes, no, I'm Norma Findlay in room 302. They don't tell me shit.
Oh.
Okay, all right.
Oh.
After messing at the beginning and everything, oh, God, save me.
Do I need a hospital joke, a doctor joke? I need no.
Okay.
God. Meanwhile,
They all
celebrating
can't be great.
had a great Thanksgiving because he got to eat real turkey, and they got no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
what
I know.
The
Fake turkey?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what that was. We still don't know what it was.
The horns that we see on tour.
Oh, the jackalope.
Yeah, what do you mean? Jackalope?
All right.
Okay.
Okay, well, then where you can't go, you have to tell us who we have this week.
Yeah.
That's right. So,
I guess we're gonna
Well,
have to.
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't really
Wednesday's
know.
up
I
there.
called my friend Tom about Wednesday, but I'm thinking it's going to be
We
part
have
2 with
tomorrow.
Fader.
We have
on to the fate. Okay.
It's one of the.
We'll find out.
Tomorrow night, then, at 7 p.m., is Mark Newman, guitarist from Long Island. I don't know. Do you know him or have you ever heard of him?
He looks familiar to me. I don't know that I've heard of Mark Newman.
Was he in a band?
Yeah, was he in a band that I would know?
I don't think so. It seems like he went right into kind of the original thing, and started playing with some people. He was with Willie DeVille for a long time, Mick DeVille.
That's Mark Johnson.
What's that?
Mark Johnson was
with
with.
Oh, really? Yeah. A friend of mine was the drummer for many years with Willie, Sean Murray, who was also in Full House for a few years, too. Well, I got sirens going on here.
I'm
hear that.
wondering where that's coming from.
I saw them out there.
I think it might be Santa Claus going by the house. The parade. That's too soon for the parade. But anyway, yeah. Mark has played with a bunch of people. He's done a lot of original stuff. What else has he? He's played with Sam Moore, John Oates from Hall & Oates, Jim McCartney from the Yardbirds and Renaissance. Bobby Whitlock, be with him. Didn't you say you knew Bobby Whitlock?
I know Bobby Whitlock. I know who he is.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said that you. I thought you told me you talked to him or something. No, somebody else.
No, it was no. We were talking about Lou Christie, and I said that he was on the album. But it doesn't matter.
All right. So anyway, I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be real interesting. Wednesday, we don't know yet.
We don't know.
We don't know yet.
We're waiting to hear back.
Waiting to hear back from Tom because Tom's got more. Tom is a musician
And has a book out.
and he's got a book out and he's running one of the better theaters in Florida and he's got tales from Brave Ulysses. But I don't know if he's available for it. So I mean, we can always back it up. I could do part 2 of me with Fader.
Yeah.
If Fader's available. Otherwise,
We don't announce it till.
well, we
The
do
day
now.
of
Now with our
anyway.
new updated cool stuff,
Oh, right. Okay, and Thursday?
Yeah, and Thursday.
And Thursday is Rick Duncan. Now, Rick Duncan does many things, but he was the drummer and the writer for Cryptic Vision. Remember the prog band Cryptic Vision?
Yeah,
Todd Plant, the singer, we had him on, and we played some of this stuff. This is the guy that wrote all that stuff, and he plays all the instruments too.
Oh wow.
He can play all the instruments. And he's got a couple of new projects he's doing now. He's over on the east coast of Florida, working over there. But it took me a few weeks to get him. It's not a very good picture of him that I got. But
Looks like the drummer in ZZ Top there.
Yeah, he kind of does look. Frank Beard.
Yeah.
it's-
The only one without the beard.
Yeah, the other one without beard. Yeah, Rick Duncan. Well, that'll be cool.
Okay.
yeah, I think he's going to be, I think he's going to be real interesting. And I mean, that's some stuff that he wrote there. I'd like to know how he did that. I think he recorded everything himself for the first album. I think there were 3 albums that Cryptic Vision did. But
Well, we should dig into it and find out. He's Thursday.
Yeah.
yeah, he's Thursday.
Pat Romano probably knows all about it.
Is that a New York band or a Florida band?
Where were they from?
They were down here in Florida from Pinellas County.
Pat Romano wouldn't know.
Yeah, Pat knows. Pat knows stuff. He
But
knows
he'll
stuff.
be looking into it, I'm sure.
Yes, he will.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well,
All
good.
right,
That
well,
sounds like
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's a picture of the whole band. That's Todd down there in the middle there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he's up on looking at the screen. The guy on the left, on the end, that's Rick.
Doesn't look like the guy in ZZ Top there.
No, he doesn't.
Uh,
Cool.
but,
Yeah.
and the guy with the long straight hair is actually he's also the keyboard player in that band Stormbringer. That's
Stormbringer.
popular around this area here, classic rock band.
Wow.
But that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, it sounds good. That sounds great, and we'll have to shout Todd out for he's sending us.
Up. You're gonna get.
I keep on forgetting to take that out of there. So every time I go to that screen, that plays.
Oh, well.
Either that or I'll put the next part of the song in. All right, so then I'm done.
Okay. Yes, you are done.
Okay. Yay! Thank you,
And
Agnes.
as always, thanks for coming down.
Yeah, bring it. Yeah, I know. The joke did it this time.
I was well. The joke, you've done better. Some of the stuff has been great.
Yeah,
Okay. Right. All right. I'm gonna try this one. It's a quick one. Then I'm out of here.
Trying something else. Okay.
All right. This little kid walks into the barber shop, and the barber says to his customer, he goes, "Watch this. This is like the dumbest kid on the planet. Does it every time. Just watch this." So the barber goes up to the kid. He puts $1 in one hand and 2 quarters in the other hand, and he says, "Which one you want, kid?" And the kid grabs the 2 quarters and runs out the door. And he goes, "See what I told you? Every time he takes the 2 quarters instead of the $1. How dumb can you be?" Now, a little bit later on, the customer leaves the barber shop. He's walking down the road, and he sees the little boy coming out of the ice cream parlor, licking an ice cream cone. So he goes up to him and he says, "Hey, son, can I ask you a question?" And the little boy goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Why did you take the 2 quarters instead of the $1? And the kid says, "Because if I take the $1, it's game over." Okay.
Okay.
All right. That's the last time I look on that website for jokes.
Okay. So there's this penguin.
Oh no.
He's driving down the Pacific Coast Highway, and his car starts to make some noise. Do you know this one?
No.
Car starts to make some noise. He gets a little worried because he's got a long way to go. He's going all the way down to San Diego, and he doesn't want his car fucking up, right? And the sound starts to get louder and louder and louder. But he's on the Pacific Coast Highway. There's not really any exits. And all of a sudden he can kind of see a town in the distance, and he figures, all right, I'm going to go there.
Iverson.
Iverson? Oh, right. That's the punchline from a joke from yesterday.
No.
So he sees the town and he says, "Oh, good." He pulls into a little town. There's a little gas station, and he, gets out of the car and he says, "Listen, I got some, noise going on in the car. I don't know what it is." He said, "I don't want to break down on the middle of the highway. Can you check it out for me?" He said, "Yeah, the mechanic says it's going to take me a few minutes to get to it." He said, "But if you're hungry, there's a luncheonette down the street. There's a magazine stand, and if you want some ice cream, there's an ice cream parlor right across the street from us here." So he says, "I think I'll get some ice cream." Penguin, right?
Yeah.
Goes over and he orders an ice cream cone, and he's kind of hungry and he knows it's going to take a long time, so he orders like 3 scoops. But he's a penguin; he's got no hands. So when they hand him the cone, it goes all over him.
Yeah.
Falls all over him. He's a little upset. And so he tries to figure the whole thing out. And he says, "Fuck it," and he's going to go see what's wrong with his car, right? So he goes back over and he says, what's going on with my car? And the mechanic looks at him and he says, "It looks like you blew a seal." And he said, "No, I spilled my ice cream."
But I'm bummed.
Oh, great. Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh, is that it? Okay, all right. So that's it. Okay.
That's it. That's for today's show.
Okay, well, there you go. Beautiful thing.
Yep.
I'll talk to you later.
I'll talk to you later. Goodbye, everybody. See you, Lori.
Thanks.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so tomorrow night we have guitarist Mark Newman, who has played with Willie DeVille, Sam Moore, John Oates, and many others.
Okay, so that should be an interesting conversation. And then we don't really know what Wednesday's going to be. I mean, that's what happens. We're coming to the place where guys are working more. They're getting called to do work at the last minute. And, you have to respect that. These guys are working, and we're happy that they're working. So if there's a hiccup in the program here and there, we'll deal with it. And I don't know how we're going to deal with Wednesday, but we'll deal with that too.
That's right.
So, as always, my friends, if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Good night, everybody.